What's up? We're live.
All right.
It's November 28th on this fine Wednesday night. It's about 8 o'clock as we usually do this. I'm Carter.
Oh
This is
yeah,
Josh.
that's me. You guys know.
And this is Talking Sports.
Where do
We
you want to
wanted
start,
to,
Carter?
let's start out with the last week review. Obviously, we had some big games.
Yep. Is there one
Uh,
that stood out to you, or what do you think?
Seahawks, Carolina.
Seahawks and Panthers. Yeah.
Yeah, that was an important win for the NFC wildcard picture. Seahawks now look very nice to get that wild spot. I think because the Redskins are obviously going to drop out with the injury to Alex Smith. Hate to see a team fall off just because of such a gruesome injury, but that's that's football. So I think the Seattle will definitely take that position and run away with it.
Yeah, I know we were pretty high on Carolina just because they were playing at home.
Yeah,
Obviously, their first loss of the season at home. That is, they're 6-5 now. I mean, I feel like they really had a chance to distance themselves from the Seahawks, and whoever else it may be in the wild card in the NFC, and they just don't look like themselves these past few weeks. It seems like they're relying on McCaffrey and Cam to do everything, and the rest of their team that was playing so well at the beginning of the season has just kind of fallen off. But
hmm
for me, I'm gonna I'm gonna be a little biased. I actually had two games
Oh,
that
I know
that
what
kind of
you're gonna
stood out
say.
to me. They both had the same score. 24-17 was the final score.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start with Broncos Steelers.
hmm
Um, the fact that I get the Broncos, they had home field advantage, and yeah, you're playing at Mile High. That's really tough to go in there and win. But if you just watch that game back and how many opportunities the Steelers had to win the game, they're going to be kicking themselves that they lost this game because down the road with as tough of a schedule as they have, and they got to play the Patriots, and the Patriots are probably going to be a bye team. Then this looks like a first round team now, and they really had a chance to have that bye and make the Patriots play in the first round, and then be well rested and come out and probably and likely play the Patriots in the second round, fresh off of that first bye week. So that one left a lasting impression on me, and also of course the Vikings Packers game. The
Yep.
Packers are now 0-6 on the road. Um, the thing that stood out to me was this is the first time all season that I could say Aaron Rodgers was a bit at fault, during the course of this game. And you know how much of an Aaron Rodgers fan I
Yeah.
am.
Yeah.
I love him as a player, but it's just like there are some throws that you expect every or most quarterbacks in the NFL to make, and it's the elite quarterbacks always make them, and he wasn't making them. Like it seemed like in the big situations, like he normally does. I mean, obviously we can pin it on an injury or the team is bad and he's lacking confidence or whatever. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's Aaron Rodgers. You're expected to sit back there and make those throws. I'm thinking about the one late in the fourth quarter to Devonte Adams down the left sideline that it just seemed like he kind of missed, and they couldn't connect. If Aaron Rodgers is going to say, I'm fine, I'm not hurt, blah blah blah, then we can't use that as an excuse. We can't say, "Oh,
Yeah.
well, he might
He
still
has
be
to
hurt and
live
he's
up to
hiding
that
it." Yeah,
performance
exactly.
that
Either
he's
tell us
not
you're a
hurt.
little hurt and we'll give you a break, but if you're not, then you better come out there and play as you would if you hadn't gotten injured at all this year. So, obviously he's on a trash team, and obviously they can still make the playoffs. And I'm not uh, doubting him supremely yet, but I was a bit disappointed by the Packers play as a whole on Sunday night, but especially Aaron Rodgers. I think he could have played a lot better.
Yeah, it was
I
a
don't
very
say this
winnable
often.
game for them.
Yeah, I don't
And
say that often, but I definitely believe that they should have had an opportunity to win that game. And even though it was only a 7 point game, it seemed like more than that. It seemed like they were getting beat by more than 7 points the whole game. But those were the two that stood out to me.
yeah. I mean those are good choices. Obviously, the Broncos are hot right now. They just beat the Chargers and then just beat the Steelers. So
Yeah.
both in Mile High. So that's how the Broncos
Yes.
are. But I mean
If we
that's
look,
still very impressive.
yeah. So if we look at the playoff picture, I'm just trying to go to it as of right
Yeah,
now.
yeah. Right now,
Yeah, obviously you've got the AFC. It seems pretty straightforward. The first few seeds. That's not going to be too confusing.
yeah.
You got
There's
the
on the 6th seed is the only thing that would
yeah.
is a toss up, and I think the Colts will get in there.
Yeah, I think the Colts are looking really good. Obviously the Broncos, a lot has been made of the fact that the Broncos have a very weak schedule the rest of the way.
They play Kansas City one more time, right?
Yeah, they play Kansas City. I think no. I think they've already played them as much as they can. Played them
They've
twice.
already played them twice.
Yeah, their remaining schedule is incredibly weak. Is the only reason really that I'm saying they have a chance. A big win against the Steelers. Yeah, they play the Chiefs once. Yeah, twice. They've lost to the Chiefs twice. But they
Hmm.
play at the Bengals, at the 49ers, at home against the Browns, at the Raiders. Those are four very
Yeah,
winnable games,
they're
back
very
to back to
winnable.
back to back. And then they play the Chargers the last week of the season. They'd have to pull out a big win there, but they beat the Chargers. Not this past week, but the week before that. So they've shown they're capable of doing it.
Yep.
And they would also have that game against the Chargers at home. They went to San Diego and beat them, or LA, wherever they're playing, the StubHub, whatever. I don't know where they're playing, but I think that's a dark horse team. I think obviously the Ravens, you can't count them out just because of their record right now and the fact that they can just kind of sneak up and win games. But if I'm looking at a team that's strong enough to compete in the playoffs, it's definitely the Colts. I would want to see them because I think they could give whoever they play a good run for their money. But and then if you go to the NFC, um, convinced on the Bears. Like I said, man, they're 8-3, looking
Yeah,
really nice
they're
right now.
they're very quiet but
Yeah,
very solid 8-3 team.
obviously those top two seeds I think are going to remain unchanged. You got the Saints and the Rams.
Yeah,
And you
definitely
got the
not.
NFC East. I mean, I know you're not very high on the Eagles. I mean, they're only a game back. They could do it, right? I mean, the Redskins looked okay against the Cowboys. They didn't look pitiful. I
Yeah.
mean, what do you think?
Um, I don't know. I remember seeing a stat that the NFC East winner has changed since 2000, I think 4. Like each year it's changed. So I think it'll change again. I think Dallas gets it just because of I mean they have two very tough games, but like I said, the Redskins are kind of gonna fall out. I don't think that they've got the morale to keep going. I know they didn't look bad against Dallas, but I just don't see it.
Yeah.
I could have seen I would see it with Alex Smith, I think, but just without that, I don't see it. I think the running back core is obviously shaken up each week. They're still performing, but you can see it. Their run game is kind of slowed down. Adrian Peterson is shaky, questionable
Hmm.
each week. Chris Thompson obviously still out. But yeah, I think that the Redskins are going to come up with that injury bug, the team that could have been, but football. So
Yeah.
this is what happens.
I mean, I think Dallas looks really good to me. I don't know. They've changed how they're playing. I'm a big Cowboys hater just because I was a fan of them for so long. Just allegiance. My dad was, so I was growing up. Um,
I mean, my dad was a Redskins fan, still
yeah,
is. So
yeah, you kind of got off of that. But I
I
mean,
didn't even
obviously
get
the
on
Cowboys, they play the Saints this week. We might as well chalk them up as 6-6.
that.
I
Yeah.
would assume. Um,
Yes.
and then they play the Eagles. That could be a big game.
I
I'm
think it
not
is going to be the big
exactly
game. That
sure who the Eagles play this week. You
they
know,
I think they actually play the
they play the Redskins.
yeah, Redskins.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that's a win for the Eagles. So this is going to be they're both going to be 6-6, you would assume, and they play each other. This
Yep.
shows you. I mean, the Eagles really do control their own destiny. If they win out, then I mean they're in the playoffs. They win their division.
Yeah.
Um, but if the Cowboys keep playing like they're playing and don't try and get too cute, I know the Cowboys love to get cute. They're going to try and get cute tomorrow night against the Saints, and they're going to get beat by 40 if they try and do that. If they can run the ball 30 times with Zeke, give him the ball over and over and over and over again, slow the game down, they have a chance of keeping it close tomorrow night. I don't think they have a chance of winning, but they have a chance of keeping it a little low scoring. But
They can hold that number one offense to 24,
yeah, maybe.
maybe.
But it's like you have to play a perfect game against the Saints to have a chance of making it a one possession game. Like it's so difficult to beat them right now because if you make one mistake on one possession, they'll score, they'll get a stop, and they'll score again. And before you know it, you're down 2 touchdowns. And then you feel like you're having to press and make Dak Prescott throw the ball 30 times. And then 3 and out. And then the Saints get the ball back and score again. And then the game's basically over. But you got Cowboys, and then they go to the Colts after the Eagles. Um, Another difficult matchup. I think could go either way. You could pick either one of those teams to win that one. I think it's a pretty even matchup. And then you got Buccaneers and the Giants to close out the season. Those are two that you would assume they could win, that they should win, really. But obviously, the Giants being a divisional game going to New York, obviously could be a little different. You know, they could slip up there, and obviously the Bucks have a high-powered offense, and don't count the Cowboys out on anything to lose to anyone. I mean, I feel like they're that type of team. They really could lose to anybody, but if they play like they're playing now, they could beat just about anybody. Excluding the Saints and the Rams and the Chiefs and the Patriots and a couple of other those teams. But I think if they're playing like they are right now, they could beat the Bears, which is who well, no, they would play the 5, which is the first wild card. It's just whoever that may be in the NFC, the Seahawks or
Or
the
the
Panthers eventually, or
Panthers,
whoever.
Vikings.
Yeah. So I think that's really up in the air, and then obviously the wild card in the NFC is big time up in the air. A lot of
Yeah, that's
teams,
6 seed.
obviously, the Packers are still in it. They got to win. They have to win out, and then they have to have a little bit of help like other teams losing. I saw a page of Packers Sports or something, or Packers Zone on Instagram, posted a really good graphic on what would have to happen. It was like the Eagles would have to lose once, the Vikings would have to lose twice, the Seahawks would have to lose like 3 times or 2 times or something like that. I don't know. It's really easy to understand graphic, and it's very plausible that this team, wins out. I mean, it's not obviously their most difficult game is against the Bears, and then they play the Cardinals, the Falcons, the Jets, and the Lions. Those are very winnable games, but I don't know, just a lot to be determined there. And then, like you said, in the AFC, it's really just 3 teams
Yeah.
going for that wild card, that last
Green
wild
Bay
card.
plays the Bears at Soldier, don't they?
Yeah, they do. So that's a
Yeah,
tough one.
that is a
0 and
tough one.
6 on the road. You
Yeah,
wouldn't assume they'd
that's
break it against a really good
yeah,
team like that, but
that's the biggest problem this year.
hopefully they can get rolling this week. They play at home against Arizona. You would assume it's a good win for the Packers. I'd hope so, but at this point, the Packers don't deserve to make the playoffs. The way they look, they're going to have to show me that they're different than they were this first half of the season because I mean, I love them. I'm a fan, but they are pitiful to watch right now. So, um, let's see. Do we want to go to college? Anything
Yeah,
else
let's
last
go to.
week?
Yeah,
Or
I mean, there wasn't too much to take away from any of the major teams. Obviously, the Rams and Chiefs were both on bye, but Patriots kind of struggled with the Jets. But at the same time, it's the Patriots. They're gonna say, hey, whatever, we'll win this. Don't worry about it. And
wins a win.
wins a win. That's how the Patriots are. Obviously, the Saints are still amazing. very electrifying team. Yeah, the Colts actually. The one thing about the Colts was that the Dolphins played them close, and we said that would happen, and they say
I
we could.
said that would happen
Okay,
because
okay.
Tannehill played.
Yeah. Tannehill played, so that did happen. But other than that, obviously the Browns drama with the Bengals. I think the Bengals looked very bad last week. Hugh Jackman is the Carmelo Anthony of the NFL now.
You don't want him on your team. You're just gonna lose. Andy Dalton is on IR.
Yeah,
Uh,
the Bengals they fell apart pretty quickly.
yeah, you can
Um,
rule them out.
yeah, obviously the Browns are not going to be able to make it into the playoffs, but I I think their team is looking at least hopeful again. Obviously, a lot of people were believing in them in the beginning of the year, thought they'd win 6-8. Looks like they'll probably win 6-8, but you know, hey, it's the Browns. Good job. You won 6 games.
Mm-hmm.
You're better than the Raiders and the Jets. Obviously, the Jags just fell apart more than any other team this year.
Yeah, how about that fight, right, with the
Yeah, the
Bills?
fight with the
I've got
Bills.
Fournette on my fantasy team. Ugh, he's not playing
Yes,
this week.
suspended for a game.
Yeah,
Was that a league suspension or a team suspension?
league
Yeah,
suspension.
because I remember he got team suspended one game last year for not showing up to a like a meeting, like a team meeting. He didn't show up and
Yeah.
he was suspended for a game. That was when I had him, but hey, it's whatever. He scored 20 plus every other week, so he made up for it. But yeah, let's go into football. We can do our review. I think I got each one right, but the LSU Texas A&M, that insane game, the
Crazy game.
72-74 Texas A&M pulling out the victory. That was incredible to watch. Obviously, if you're an offensive fan, it was probably pretty pathetic. I've never been a defensive fan before, but I imagine that it was probably like, wow, what are you guys doing? Um,
Yeah,
Obviously
I watched
LSU
it.
was
I
supposed
watched
to
the
have a
last few
good defense
overtimes.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this
The
was
last few overtimes.
man. I mean, it was crazy. And it's a good thing they have the rule where you have to go for two after a certain overtime because I mean, these teams would have just kept scoring. That's what ended up deciding the
Yeah.
game.
No, it
So
really was. They were
yeah,
in overtime, just easy win, easy score. There you go. Oh yeah, you think so? Okay, we'll score 2. Yeah, it was
yeah.
pretty crazy.
I mean, I was obviously very impressed by Ohio State.
Oh yeah.
They killed Michigan.
Yeah, it
I
was
mean, it ended
close
up
that first quarter.
yeah, it ended up being a 23-point win, but it was really more than that. Michigan got some late scores that didn't really mean a whole lot. So that puts Ohio State right back into that talk, right? Of
Yep.
possibly
That's
being
what
a
we
playoff
talked
team.
about that last week, obviously, with the if they beat Michigan handily and they still only have one loss, obviously, to Purdue earlier in the year. But they win this conference championship. I mean, that's a Power 5 conference team with one loss and very impressive victories. So I mean, yeah, they're in the talks. And obviously with that, and Oklahoma pushing it, that brought in that whole there should be 8 teams in the playoffs. Why are there only 4? With all the sports channels and stuff. So, you get into that now because there are these 2 great teams that should be in there, but at the same time, there's no room for them, and you can't push out Notre Dame. Although they were struggling with USC for a little bit.
Yeah, they needed a late touchdown there.
But they're still undefeated. You really can't kick a Power 5. I mean, technically they're not in a conference, but they play Power 5 teams on the regular, and
Yeah,
can't kick
Notre
them out
Dame
because of that.
really has it best. I mean, they do a good job scheduling a fairly difficult schedule. They've gone undefeated, and now I mean they're in. They don't have to
Yeah,
play any conference championship game. They're undefeated, and if the committee were to ever knock them out, they would get so much crap for that. At the end of the day, that they kicked out an undefeated team that's played a pretty difficult schedule to a certain extent. Um, I don't know. They're obviously the lock. You would assume Alabama is. If they lose to Georgia this week, we could see them falling out, and then Clemson. They play Pitt, so we'll see how that goes. But
they play Pitt. I mean, yeah, I think obviously Alabama's a lock. Even if they lose to Georgia, honestly, I think if it's close enough, I still think they're in.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you can't kick out Alabama. Alabama's the playoff. Like, that's where you start the playoff. When people like say, okay, who's in the playoffs right now? They say, okay, Alabama, and let's see. Like, so I think unless they are completely obliterated and like Tua gets hurt and they're like this team just can't compete right now with how banged up they are. Obviously, I hope that doesn't happen. But yeah, I think they're still in even if they lose to Georgia.
Yeah. So we're gonna do something a little different with the picks this week.
Yeah, obviously conference championships. Other than that, also though, let's end it here. That it was a great rivalry weekend, like
Yeah, it
amazing.
was.
There are a lot of big games and
Lots of
a lot
points
of
scored as well.
crazy scores.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely a lot of points scored, but a lot of close games, really high scoring close games. And I mean, that's what you want to watch. That's what's in right now. So,
All right. So I'm going to explain really briefly kind of what we're going to do. We're going to pick all of the conference championship games
with spreads. Some
with
of them
spreads
do not.
and ECU at NC State, which is near and dear to our hearts because we're from North Carolina.
Go Pack.
We're going to put a point system to it. So if you pick a favorite and get the game right, but they don't cover, but you get the pick right, you get 1 point. If you pick the favorite, they win and they cover, which obviously they would have to, win if they covered.
Mm-hmm.
You get 2 points. If you pick an underdog and they don't cover, so well. If you pick an underdog and they cover but they don't win,
You get
3. If you
and
pick
then
an underdog and they cover
win.
and win, you get 4. There you go. That's the best way to explain it.
Yeah.
I had to work it out in my head real quick. So the very first one on here is Northern Illinois at Buffalo. There's no spread, but just for the sake of, picking it for 1 point. I mean, do you want to take a crack at this one? I mean, what do you think?
I think Buffalo will get it done. I don't think I would think they'd be favored in the first place, but I don't think like I couldn't tell you what they think the spread would be, but I think Buffalo.
Yeah, I like Buffalo. That's where Khalil Mack went to school.
Oh boy,
Yeah.
I like Buffalo.
I like them. I'm looking at them right now. Looks like they've had a pretty good year. From what I know, Northern Illinois is pretty traditionally a good football team. At the top of that conference.
Yeah,
I'm just kind of looking at some of the scores of these games. Okay,
Buffalo's been good recently though.
They beat Temple. That's a good win at the beginning of the season. Buffalo 36-29 over Temple. That's a good win. They lost to Ohio 52-17. I don't like that. I mean, that worries me. I like a more experienced team when it comes to winning. So I'm going to go with Northern Illinois. I know Buffalo's probably favored, but it doesn't matter. Whoever gets the game right, just whoever gets it right gets 1 point. So I'm going to go Northern Illinois
All right.
just to win.
I got you.
Utah at Washington. Well, not even at Washington. It's at Levi Stadium
Utes.
in California, where the 49ers play.
Yeah.
So Utah I guess it's at Washington. Yeah, but maybe it's not really,
Yeah, they'll be considered the home team on paper.
Yep.
But obviously, I guess they're closer technically, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know if how Washington Huskies travel. I
Yeah.
couldn't tell you.
In bags.
Yeah. But so I'm gonna go with Washington 5.5 spread. Obviously a home field advantage for conference championships doesn't really do anything because most of them are not at that field for unbiased reasons. So there's no like unequal terms. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Washington.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Utah. I think
Ooh.
they're kind of a sneaky good team. I feel like they're gonna try and slow the game down a little bit. Obviously, impressed with Washington last week and how they played against Washington State. That was a big win for them to now get to the Pac-12 championship game. But I just think Utah is, I'll take the chance that they at least cover. Give me a little bit of points or whatever. But I don't know. I think they might win the game too. I like Utah in this one, and Washington might be riding a little too high off that win last week.
You think?
We got Texas versus Oklahoma in the Cowboy Stadium, AT&T Stadium.
Yeah.
On Saturday, says Oklahoma's 8-point favorite.
Yep. This is probably the second closest conference championship. Obviously, I think it's kind of a bigger spread with the 8-point. I think it's going to be a pretty close game. Texas scores a lot of points, but I think Oklahoma needs this win to get into the playoffs. They know that they have to drill it in that they're a competitive team at that level, and I think they're going to put up a big game for Texas, and obviously I think they're going to cover.
So you think
Oklahoma?
All right. So since we're picking the same team, yeah, I kind of like you did. I think if we pick the same team, we should say whether we think they're going to cover or not. So we see how many points they get or whatever. I'm also going to go Oklahoma, and I'm also going to say they cover. This is a huge game for them. Texas has kind of been up and down the past few weeks. Played a really close game against Kansas this past week.
Yeah, that
was only about a one possession game. Oklahoma needs this.
Predicted, didn't you?
Yeah,
that was one of your bold predictions.
Yeah, that they were going to cover again. That they were going to cover again, and they did, but easily by like almost 2 scores they covered.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go Oklahoma just because they know they not only need to win this game, but they need to kick Texas's ass. I mean, they have to beat them bad. They want to make that impression to the committee of, hey, we should be in the playoff, and not whoever it may be that if anyone loses, that's already in.
Or they're competing with Ohio State.
Yeah, Ohio State, and you would assume Georgia. Obviously, if Georgia beats Alabama, they're in. I mean, Oklahoma, you beat Alabama, and you're only a one-loss team. You're in the playoff. But you would assume Georgia's going to lose, so that would kind of eliminate them. So then it's Ohio State and Oklahoma for that 4th spot. You would assume both are going to win. You would think, but you never know. And Oklahoma's got to come out and have a big game. I think they will. We're going to go to Louisiana versus App State. Now, this is a conference championship game that is actually in Boone, North Carolina. Like this is at App State.
Yeah. The smaller conferences usually stay.
Yeah. So what do you think here?
Well, I'm not going to pretend that I'm an avid watcher of App State. Obviously, I know a few people over there, but I think what I remember from watching, like seeing Appalachian State each year, is that they're very good in that conference. They've one of those teams that's always up there in their championship, and I think App State will win, but I'm not going to say they cover.
No. Yeah, it's a bit of a big spread.
Yeah, 16.5 was a little big for me.
Yeah, I love App State and what they do, it seems like in football every year. They're just so consistent and so good, even in a conference they're in. I mean, they're not a big school, so it's not like they're Alabama in a conference with a bunch of nothings and beating up on them. I mean, this is, you feel like they're basically equal to everybody else. It's just they're a better football team. But I see there's supposed to be a little rain. That discourages me from picking up against the spread, but this is just a really good team. So I think App State's going to win, and they're going to find a way to cover. All they'd have to do is win by 17 points, and I'm going to go App State, and they'll cover at home.
All right.
All right. We'll save ECU, NC State for last. Let's go ahead and pick Marshall at Virginia Tech. Not a conference championship game, but Virginia Tech needs this win to be bowl eligible.
Bowl
They're
eligible.
favored by 3.5. What do you think?
Gonna give it to Tech. They need it. And obviously, Fuente's job is probably on the line, kind of. Maybe they, obviously not. I won't say he's on the line, but he's in the doghouse right now.
Yeah.
So if this kind of thing happens again for a Virginia Tech team, obviously he's going to be looking for a new job. But yeah, he needs to get bowl eligibility. That's always been a standard.
Yeah.
But he needs this. He'll get the win. 3.5 spread's a little too small for me, so gonna say that's a dub. They cover.
I'm gonna go Marshall. They're gonna play spoiler.
Whoa.
This is a good team, like that they're playing.
I know
It sucks that this is who they rescheduled for the game that they needed to be bowl eligible. Marshall's kind of one of those teams you would think is like App State, they got a good offense. It just seems like they just win. They just win games, and I don't know. I think they know that App State is so close to being bowl eligible that they want to play them because they want to be bowl eligible because they think they can beat Marshall. It's going to be easy, and they're going to come in there, and I think Marshall is going to pull out the win, so which would be a win outright. So I'm going to go Marshall.
Wow,
that one, yeah.
That's an interesting. That's obviously a 1 point.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw that. I'm gonna throw that into my bold predictions pile.
All right.
As well. So
I mean, that
makes
makes
bold
sense.
predictions late in the podcast. But UAB at Middle Tennessee, Conference USA.
A 1 point spread.
This is gonna be a great game. I think.
This is a flip of a coin. Honestly, I had to look up some of their schedules, but I looked through it and I was like, well, who do I pick?
Yeah.
Nothing. I mean, they were good, but at the same time, they were both even. It seemed the teams they played, like they either won, like almost. I think there was one game in there that they both won, like against the same team, within like 3 points. Like the score was like they scored.
Well, they played each other last week, and
yeah, I saw it.
UAB lost 27-3. So.
Yeah, I did see that at the end there, but I don't know if they were like, hey, let's not show them when it matters in this championship game. But I mean, I'm gonna go with Middle Tennessee.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is a 1 point spread and a 1 point game for our competition. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Middle Tennessee.
I just think I don't think UAB goes down that softly. I've seen them play this year. At the first part of the A&M game, they played A&M a couple weeks ago. They look really strong. They're like a good, mid-major size school that could play football. I picked Middle Tennessee to cover against, I think, Kentucky a couple weeks back, and they didn't let me down. Good job, Middle Tennessee. But I'm just going to go UAB. I don't think it's going to be the same as it was a week ago. I think UAB will come in and they'll get the win, even though they're going to be on the road.
Yeah.
A small spread, obviously. It's not too bold of a prediction. They would literally just have to win and they cover. But same for Middle Tennessee State, really. I mean, you win by 2 points, you cover, and you win. But, go to Memphis at UCF.
What's the spread on that?
Spread is not there, so you just want to pick it straight up?
Yeah, we can pick that straight up. UFC, Yeah, Jesus, UCF.
Yeah, I'm gonna go UCF. I think
Yeah.
that's pretty straightforward. I know they lost their quarterback. Prayers up to Mackenzie Milton. That was a nasty injury. I don't know if you saw it, Carter, but
No, I did not.
it was
But
a bad injury. You
oh,
might want to
really?
look it up or not if you don't like it.
I mean, I'm not usually affected by that, but
Yeah, it's pretty nasty. His
all right.
legs it should be going in one direction, going in another.
Yeah, that does sound like it hurt.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna definitely still go with UCF here.
We got Alabama.
This is gonna
versus
be
Georgia.
a big game, obviously, for
huge.
Georgia. Alabama, like I said, not as much. Obviously, they still want to win. But like, it's not impossible if they lose. They're not looking at oh my God, we lost. We're out of the playoffs because we lost our conference game to the number 4 team in the league, like right now. So, but I'm gonna say Georgia covers. They don't win, but they cover.
Yeah. This is a tough one.
Yeah.
Because they're both really strong. 13 and a half, I think, is a spot on spread. God, this is so hard. I'll go with Alabama, obviously, like you said, and just for the sake of debate, I'll say they cover. But if they do, it'll be barely.
Yeah,
it'll be like
14. I don't think they beat them by more than 14. Yeah, 21 maybe, maybe at the most. But yeah, I think it's going to be close. I think Georgia knows that, hey, this is our chance. We lost that one game, but we can still make this happen. So
yeah, Alabama is totally different when they have a quarterback as good as Tua Tagovailoa. Like they are a completely different monster, even different than the monster they are every year. This is just different because they are just 10 times better with a Heisman caliber quarterback.
yeah,
we got Fresno State going to Boise State.
You called the upset earlier this year.
I did.
With the Boise State, Fresno
I picked Boise State twice with my spreads, and they've covered each time.
Are you going to back away from that?
No, I'm going to re-up on it. I'm going to do it until they do me wrong, which, I mean, this would be the second to last time they could do me wrong this year. But, yeah, 2.5-point spread. I like them to cover at home.
Yeah, I was going to say, because they're at home, because it's one of the smaller conferences, they get that home field advantage, obviously. I think they cover.
Yeah, and just the fact that, you're coming from – these are two programs, I think, kind of like up above. What was the one, that we kind of brought that up in Northern Illinois and Buffalo? I brought it up in being part of a program that are traditionally winners. Boise State traditionally wins almost every season. Fresno State, flash in a pan. They'll have a good season, and then they'll have another season they only have 3 wins, or they're up and down. Boise State, I think the experience has helped them against Fresno State and Utah State, the 2 teams I picked them against this season. Has helped them win. I mean, those are 2 very good teams. Both those teams are now 10-2, and they beat both of them. So I like Boise State just because they that experience in winning. I think they'll get the win. Yeah. We got Clemson versus Pittsburgh. This is a 27.5-point spread.
Yeah, that's
crazy.
That's a pretty major spread. Biggest one I've seen in a while for a conference championship in a Power 5. But I think Clemson's still going to beat them by 27.5.
I think I can just kind of slip on in and say I agree. I watched Pitt play at Carolina. Carolina, if you guys don't really follow college football closely, especially when it comes to trash teams, they're trash. They are garbage. Were garbage. They're not playing another game this year, not bowl eligible. They're terrible. And they beat Pitt. Pitt got smoked last week by Miami, also a team that they're either not bowl eligible or they just barely became bowl eligible. I don't know if they have 5 or 6 wins. But
yeah, the AFC was kind of upside down this year. Obviously,
I don't know how they were winning these games.
But
Yeah, I
Yeah.
honestly don't know how they were winning these games and how Pitt got to this point. They're not good.
No.
Congrats. They got to the ACC championship game. I'm sure nobody was considering them, to kind of make
Going
it this
into this
far.
year,
But
obviously Miami and
yeah,
Virginia Tech are the
Clemson
big talks.
covers. I think they win and they cover.
Yeah.
Yep. And then the
Yeah.
last one for championship games, Northwestern, Ohio
Ohio.
State.
Yeah. Um, the spread is not applicable. I don't know about you. You see the same thing I do.
Yeah, I don't see one either.
I would say it'd probably be a 10.5.
Yeah, somewhere around in there. Maybe a 2-score game, maybe a high
Yeah.
1-score game, 8 or something. But
Yeah. So I still think Ohio State covers. Obviously, big monster win against Michigan, for their rivalry week. But yeah, I think Ohio State wins and probably covers a 2-point or 2-score spread. So
yeah, I
like
mean,
a 10.5 to 13.5 or like an 8. You said.
yeah,
So,
they're in the same spot as Oklahoma. They have to make a
yeah.
statement, and I think they will make a statement. Northwestern may not again be used to being in an atmosphere like this, playing Ohio State, and having to come up with a big game in the conference championship. I'm going to go Ohio State. No, the
Yeah,
spread.
no, this is definitely a Wisconsin
Yeah,
atmosphere
yeah,
most year.
yeah. If you don't know what he's talking about, I don't know if you guys remember 4 or 5 years ago, Ohio State was playing. It was like the very first year of the college football playoff, I think.
Yeah,
Um, they had to win against Wisconsin to even be considered, and they not only won, but they won by like 50 points. It was like by 7 touchdowns or 8 touchdowns or whatever it was, and it was pretty clear that they needed to be in. And then they won that year, didn't they? That was
yeah,
Cardell Jones. Yeah, he
yeah,
was the quarterback, and Zeke, right? Zeke was
yeah. It
the
was
quarterback?
Zeke,
Yeah.
and they were a 17-1 team at the end there. I don't know if you guys remember that one-loss team was at home, the second game of the season, to one of the trashiest quarterbacks I've ever seen. I don't even know if I remember his name.
Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking
It
about.
was
It
a
was
Virginia
a freaking
Tech
bum
quarter.
though. Yeah.
God, I want to say it started with a B, or an M. It was either it was either his initials were either BM or MB, and I don't remember.
He's that bad. We don't have to remember him, but
Oh, we have to. I have to look this up.
yeah.
Yeah, go on.
But again, Ohio State, they got to have a big win. I think they will. But I guess if we want to go back to ECU, NC State.
Yeah.
ECU's going to NC State this weekend. What do you think, Carter?
Oh, yes. It was Michael Brewer.
Michael
I knew
Brewer.
it. I knew it. I knew it. I knew. I
That kid
said
was
it was either
trash.
BM or
Actual trash. He put a
MB.
good game together against Ohio State, though.
Oh no, he looked amazing. It was like a complete and total letdown the rest of the season. Everybody thought this kid was like, oh my God, this guy's the next Mike Vick here. And like he was straight garbage for the rest of his college play, like the rest of his college career. And he never lived down the hype. He always thought he was good as shit still.
Yeah.
But he was awful. It was god awful.
Yeah.
And it was something crazy to watch. Obviously, that's been Virginia Tech's biggest problem as of late is they haven't had a quarterback. Gerard Evans was obviously there for I think 2 years ago, and that was very strong. But obviously, he went to the draft, so that sucks. Yeah.
So last college game, ECU, NC State at State.
Go Wolfpack. That's all I gotta say.
You think they'll cover?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. NC State wins for sure, but they aren't going to cover a 23-point spread against their in-state rival. ECU is trash, garbage. Don't get me wrong. Lost by 50 to Cincinnati. This is a terrible team. but they aren't. They're going to come to play, and they are going to hold it under that 23-point spread. I think. I mean, their wins are against Carolina, 41-19. Oh God. Old Dominion, 37-35. They won by 2. And then 55-21 against UConn, who has 1 win. Their losses, NC A&T, 49-6 to Temple. I mean, this is just a trash team, but they cover. They'll cover. They have to, right? But yeah, just go
I
ahead.
just don't think they do.
Yeah. But I guess that's it for the week. We'll get you back updated on how we do points wise for those. We'll
Yes.
listen back through the video and
We can now go into obviously the NFL.
yep.
I won last week. I think like Josh said, I either went 10-5 or 9-6.
Yeah, and I did like the opposite. I went like 6-9, I think. So I think we're basically reverse. There was a couple
Yeah.
that looked like I was going to get right. Arizona was up 10-0 early on the Chargers.
Yeah, and then they just boom.
So,
Chargers kicked it into the second gear that all great scoring teams have. But yeah. So
shout
I
out
did
Philip
win
Rivers,
last
by
week.
the way, breaking
yeah,
that
big
completion percentage record, 28 for 29, 25 straight completions. What a game he had.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive.
Yeah. All right, so what's our first game? What you got? Obviously a Thursday night game. Saints.
Yeah, let's start with that Saints Cowboys.
A 7?
7.5 spread makes this a very easy pick to me.
Come on.
New Orleans.
Come on. Vegas gets this one right. Take all my money. Give me New Orleans. Obviously.
Yeah, honestly,
for
that is
obvious
an
reasons.
awful spread.
Yeah. Do you want to write this down?
I
Or
understand
are you
that.
gonna write
Yeah,
it in
yeah,
Google? Okay.
yeah. You write it in the Google. It's your turn. But
Okay.
yeah, I don't know why a 7.5 spread. That I know they had a big game last week and put up a lot of points, but they put up 30 on the Redskins. But I don't see them holding it that close. That's not a good spread. It's not a good one.
Well, since I'm doing this in the Google Doc,
I'll tell you the
yeah,
next game.
Ravens at Falcons is what I see.
Yep. Ravens at Falcons, a 1-point spread. Gonna go with Baltimore on this one. I know Atlanta's at home, but Atlanta has just looked kind of at a weird stage. They've been like this for a couple weeks. They're not getting wins is their problem. And obviously a 1-point game is how you lose a game, but I think they lose by more than that. So gonna go with Baltimore on this one. Strong defense.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go the Falcons just because they're at home. I don't believe in them. I think it's very possible the Ravens win. The Ravens are gonna try to do the whole ball control thing. I think they're just gonna run the ball a lot. This is gonna be a game that kind of goes by pretty quickly, I would assume. But I'm gonna just go Falcons just because they're at home. They kind of need a win. I think they might pull one out.
The
Next we
next
got
game we got
Broncos Bengals.
Yeah. Broncos Bengals.
Yeah.
Where is that on mine? What the heck? Bengals.
Yeah, it's a 5-point spread. Denver's favored.
I would gonna go with the Denver on this one. Hugh Jackson is on the Bengals, so
Yeah. 5-point spread. No Andy Dalton. Jeff Driscoll's first week as a starter. I know the Broncos are probably going to find a way to make it close, but I'm just going to go Denver just because it's hard to pick against them.
yeah. Right now they're
good matchup.
riding high, and obviously they need these wins to be considered for that playoff.
Yeah. Rams at Lions. Rams are 10-point favorites.
The Detroit's been impressing me as of late. Both teams that's traded away their arguably best receiver, Detroit and Denver, have kind of picked it up ever since they did this. But I'm still gonna go with the Rams. That's a monster team. They proved that they can put up a lot of points. I know it's in Detroit, but the Rams are a good football team. So, and obviously they're well rested from their bye week. So the Rams cover.
I'm also gonna go with the Rams here. I was just messing around in the Google Doc. It's not letting me write anything. That's pretty trash. What is going on? A page unresponsive. But I mean, I think it's pretty straightforward. The Rams. I mean, only 10-point
I got
favorites. You know, a couple touchdowns, you cover. I don't know. I like the Rams. It's pretty straightforward.
I may have been a little bit more hesitant if it was a say 16 point spread.
Yeah, or maybe even a 14. But I mean, the Rams are just too strong. Playing indoors, you know, no weather to affect how good that offense is.
Yeah.
I'm going Rams. Rams big. We got Green Bay at home against Arizona.
14-point spread. Arizona just did not impress me. I don't like Green Bay. I'm a avid kind of disliker of the team in general. Obviously, I believe in Aaron Rodgers, but I'm still going to go with Green Bay on this one. Arizona only scored 10 points last week after being up 10-0. So
yeah,
I don't think they can put up enough points.
Yeah, I'm tempted to pick the Cardinals just because it's a 14-point spread. I think the Cardinals can score at times, you know, like they kind of did against the Chiefs a couple weeks ago. But I don't know. I think this is where it starts for Green Bay. If you're going to do anything, this is where it starts. They got to have a good week, and I think they'll cover that 14-point spread. I think they'll play, you know, at least halfway to their potential. Not quite there yet, but they'll start to get on the right track at least. We got the Bills going to the Dolphins.
Yep.
4.5-point spread. Over under 40 on this game. Assuming a pretty low scoring game here.
I'm looking at 5.5.
I'm looking at 4.5 Miami.
Huh. Well, let's go with the 4.5 then.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say with Tannehill playing Miami.
Yeah. Josh Allen played pretty good last week. I'm impressed. I was pretty impressed, not gonna lie. This is a Bills team that's playing a little different. I like them in this one to at least cover and maybe even win the game. But yeah, go ahead, give me the Bills. They might get their 5th win of the season. You never know. We got Bears going to the Giants. I don't have a spread on this game.
I also don't have a spread. I've got a 4.5 with Unibet. So 4.5 obviously Bears.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Bears as well. The Giants basically out of the playoffs. If I'm them, I'm not really trying too hard for a victory here. I think the Bears want to go ahead and try and shore up that NFC North division. I think they're going to get the win by more than 3.5 or 4.5 or whatever the spread may be.
Who you got next?
Panthers at Bucks, 3.5-point spread.
Yeah, this was a low one for me. I understand the Bucks put up a lot of points on San Francisco last week.
Trash on the road, 1-4 on the road.
Yeah, not very good on the road, but I think they're going to be mad. They obviously need to get back into the playoffs.
That's exactly where I was going.
Yeah, so
this is going to be a pissed off Panthers team. And, you know, Cam Newton is kind of, you know, but it's just whatever. You don't feel like he gets too pissed or happy, or, I mean, maybe he's just too a little late, like too much laid back, you know. But, I don't know. I'm going to go Panthers. I think it's pretty straightforward. These spreads seem a little bit off. I don't know. That's just me. Of course, they'll find a way to come up and bite us in the ass at some point. But
yeah,
I don't know. This just seems a little small for me.
Yeah, I would have said 5.5, maybe 7.
Yeah. So we got Indianapolis going to Jacksonville.
I understand it's at Jacksonville, but the Colts are hot right now.
Yeah,
So
a 4-point spread. Cody Kessler starting for the Jags. No Blake Bortles this week. They benched him. Leonard Fournette's not playing. So it's
yeah,
or TJ Yeldon. What makes you think that a four
it's a
point spread is a
4-point
good
spread.
thing? I mean, the Colts are going to get this win. They need it to stay where they are in the wild card race. I think if Atlanta can beat Baltimore, and then if Cincy can pull something out of their ass and beat Denver, and then whoever that, if there's another six, and I don't think there's another 6-5 team in the AFC, then you're the number 6 seed. The Colts are, and you control your own destiny. You keep winning, you're in. So I'm gonna go Colts here. They'll definitely cover, I think. Houston going, or well, the Browns going to Houston, 5.5-point spread on that game. What do you think?
Um, I'm gonna go with. I know the Browns are kind of hot right now, but I'm still gonna go with the Texans on this one.
Hmm.
They're 8-3. They have the second longest winning streak in the NFL right now,
Yeah.
with 8, I believe.
Yep.
So they
Same
haven't lost. They
team.
were started 0-3.
First team
Obviously
to
behind
ever
the
start 0-3 and then win 8 straight games. That's crazy.
yeah. Like I said, obviously though, very easy schedule this year.
Mhm.
Um, uh, yeah. So I'm gonna go with Houston covers.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Browns. Houston's gonna win. I think that's what they're good at, though, is winning those kind of closer games. Where it comes down to a field goal. I think this will be that game. This is a different Browns team. Baker's playing really well. Nick Chubb, they're obviously relying on him. I think the Texans will probably win a really close game in about 1, 2, or 3 points, however it may be. But the Browns are going to cover. So give me Cleveland.
All right.
We got the Jets going to Tennessee. Tennessee 7.5-point favorites. What do you think?
Um, I liked how the Jets looked tough against the Patriots, but I mean the Patriots sometimes do that to teams. They make
Mm.
them look better than they are, but still somehow manage to lose just because just put the pin in the um I don't know where I was gonna go with that reference, but you just put it on. Hey, it's the Patriots. You're gonna lose, but I don't think that they get a 7.5 spread. Maybe a little bit more from or a little less from Tennessee, but gonna go with Tennessee on this one. They cover.
Yeah, I agree with you here. I'm going to go Tennessee as well, just because I think this is one of those games they're going to throw everything they got at the Jets. This is a chance for them to get their 6th win, climb back into that wild card race. Um, I don't know. This is one of those games where I think we're going to look at Tennessee, and even though they're not playing a good team, we'll be like, now see, this is what Tennessee could be, but they're not every week, basically.
Yeah.
So give me Tennessee to cover. Got the Chiefs going to Oakland, 15-point spread. Now, the last time the Chiefs had a big spread, it was 16 against Arizona, and they didn't cover, I don't believe. So, what do you think?
Um, it's Oakland.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Kansas City on this one. Just 16 is a little small, maybe a 20-point
Oh, well, that's
spread.
15, but yeah. Yeah, I got you. Coming off the bye, Kansas City. This is just too good of a team. I think, win by a couple touchdowns and a field goal. You win by 17, you cover. I'm going to go Kansas City. And, if they don't cover, so what? That's just my way of looking at it.
Yeah.
Vikings going to the Patriots. The Patriots are 5-point favorites. They're playing at home. They're really good at home. They're 5-0 at home.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Obviously in Foxborough, I
Yeah.
think Minnesota's a strong team, though. I'm gonna say Minnesota covers.
Hmm. I'm going to
They
say the
this is a
Patriots cover.
all right.
But yeah, how are you going?
Obviously I'm a Patriots fan, but I'm gonna say that this is a Tom Brady. Hey, I'm gonna drive down the field. You accidentally left 2 minutes on the clock, and I'm either gonna win the game for us, and they're gonna be losing, and he's gonna win the game, and it's gonna make it a like a 4-point, 3-point win, or Gustowski's gonna get that field goal. So
Yeah.
I think that's what I'm predicting.
Yeah, I'm still not really convinced on Minnesota. just yet. They're kind of. I mean, they show up some weeks, and then some weeks they kind of fade away. They're kind of like the Panthers or the Titans or other teams you can compare them to. But I just like the Patriots at home in an important game. They want to keep that bye. I think
Yeah,
that,
obviously they've got the Texans nipping on them
yeah.
because of just how easy their schedule
And also the
is.
Steelers, they beat them head to head, and then the Steelers pull out a win this week against the Chargers. No Melvin Gordon, very possible. You keep that record up, the Steelers could be there too. So I'm gonna go Patriots. I don't think they'll cover, obviously. But we got the 49ers going to the Seahawks. Seahawks are 9.5 point favorites.
I think it's too small. That should be bigger. Gonna go with Seattle.
Yeah, I mean, I have a tendency to pick against the Seahawks when it comes to bigger spreads just because of how they play, kind of. I still think they would win, obviously, but I'm just going to go Seattle because they've proved me wrong. And the 49ers have also proved me wrong. I've thought when the spreads are bigger in the favor of whoever the 49ers are playing against, the 49ers could keep it closer than 14. Surely they could, and they don't.
Yeah,
So I'm
I
going to
mean
go
Tampa Bay put 37
Seahawks.
on them last week.
Yeah,
So
and obviously going on the road, I think this is at
yeah,
least a 10-point win.
I would say it's not even their defense that's the biggest problem. It's that their offense can't stay on the field because it's not very good.
Yeah.
So
We got the Chargers at Steelers. This is a big game. I think it'll be fun to watch Sunday night. What do you think, man?
yeah, this is a pretty big game. The spread is 3.5 for me.
Same.
Um uh Obviously Pitt's favored to win.
Yep.
But I think that's only because Melvin is out. But I think the Chargers still win.
Well,
I think the Chargers cover.
yep. I go back to what I've said about the Steelers time and time again. This team, especially Antonio Brown, performs when they play in primetime games. Thursday night, Sunday night, Monday night. They go out and they ball out, and I think they win and they cover. They might even win this game by 2 possessions. I don't know. The Chargers are really good, but they haven't convinced me yet. They could win this game; it would convince me. But that they could be legit, Super Bowl contender. They win this game firmly enough. But I don't know. I'm going to go Steelers. I just like how they play in prime time, especially guys like Antonio Brown. But we got the Monday night game, the last one, Redskins at Eagles. Eagles 6.5 point favorites. What do you think?
Yeah, this is a big game for that NFC East, like we were talking about. But I'm gonna go with Philadelphia. They're not very impressive to me. They're not a team that I think should be in the playoffs, but if they squeak in, it's not gonna surprise me just because of how the NFC East is this year. There's no clear winner, There's no clear better team. Obviously Washington I thought in the beginning of the year was better, but obviously with their running back questionableness and Alex Smith going down, I think the Eagles take this one.
Yeah, I'm going to go Eagles as well. Again, I'm kind of with you, not convinced on them. I think they could win the game by 7 points, but again, that gets the job done. So Eagles got to get something going. They need to win. They need to win a game convincingly, I should say. But they got to find something. You got to do something
Yeah,
because
they do.
this is a team that only beat the Giants by 3 last week. They gotta get rolling because they play Dallas next week. That's a big game, and I think they got to get ready for it, amped up by beating these Redskins this week.
Yeah.
Um, so that's it for those. You have any fantasy advice for us, Carter?
I'm not gonna get into you too much about fantasy right now, but I would say if you're um I would say if your league goes into the playoffs like ours does, we uh we don't finish the season. I know most leagues probably finish the season at the 17 week
Mm-hmm.
17, but we go into the playoffs. So I would wait one more week let your players have a big game. If you're on the winning team, you got a spot. I'd wait one more week. Let those other teams get desperate because they're not going to trade yet. Let those other teams get one more week of desperateness. They see that hole closing. You've
Right.
got to be the light. You just got to wait. Okay?
Yeah.
So that's my fantasy advice.
Yeah, my fantasy advice, I think pretty clearly Austin Eckler had a really good game last week. No
Yeah.
Melvin Gordon at all this week. So I think he is projected 14.5, which I mean, as he should be. Had 22 last week and no Melvin
Yeah.
Gordon this week against
I think
Pittsburgh.
I'll have a 20+ game.
Yeah, high scoring game. I think he's the guy you want to go to there. Stay away from Carlos Hyde. He is tempting to have and to start because he is starting this week and Leonard Fournette is not. And he could be the main back against the Colts. And Fournette's doing so well. He's not the same as Fournette. I think Yeldon's going to be the primary back. This is not a guy you want to start in my mind. It's just a 1 week start guy. I don't know. I'd stay away from it. But that's just me. And then I think Sony Michel would be another guy if I had to say start him. They play Minnesota. I think they're going to want to establish the run game. I think the Patriots want to get the ball on the ground and try and set that tempo. So I think Sony Michel would be a good start this week, and maybe even a sit James White. I don't know, maybe not. Man, he's always a nice little security blanket for Tom Brady. But those are my fantasy advices for the week. What are you looking forward to this week, Carter?
Couple good matchups. Patriots, Minnesota, big game for me. Obviously, I'm a Pats fan, and I think that's a good matchup. So I'm eager to look forward to watching that in Foxborough. I think also that Los Angeles Pitt game is going to be a big decider because those teams could easily potentially play each other in the playoffs, that first round. And I think with that said, Los Angeles is going to want to score a lot of points and want to show that their best player is Melvin Gordon, but they're not completely dependent on them. They trust Phillip Rivers. I think this is going to be two great quarterbacks going head to head, and we're going to see how they play against each other. Whichever quarterback plays better this week, I think wins the game.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely can't disagree with any of those. Those seem like games that are definitely worth watching. Obviously, like you said, Chargers, Steelers, Vikings, Patriots, an important game for the Vikings. They need to win this game. And I don't think they will, but they really need to come out and pull out that win, you know. But obviously college football, a lot going on. Alabama, Georgia. I want to see just how good Alabama is. I know they beat LSU, but that team doesn't have an offense like Georgia does. That team has virtually no offense, it seems like, until they scored, 72 last week or whatever it was.
72-74.
I know they beat Mississippi State bad. I know they beat Auburn bad in the second half. I know, but I want to see how good Alabama is against a team of this caliber. If they kick Georgia's ass on Saturday, there's nothing stopping them from winning the national championship. Not even Clemson. This is just a team on a totally different level, in my opinion. And then I think could be another shootout, Oklahoma and Texas. Could be a lot of points scored there. That kind of intrigues me. And of course, I'm always rooting for the Boise State Broncos. It seems like I think that'll be a good game against Fresno State as well. Any bold predictions before we say peace till next Wednesday? And then we'll have a lot to go over next Wednesday. Wow.
Yeah. Next Wednesday will be a big one. Well, like I said, I made the wouldn't say bold, but a very exact prediction for the end of that Patriots Minnesota game. Like I said, I think Georgia covered the Alabama, the SEC Conference Championship. If I had to say a true bold prediction, Ryan Tannehill throws for 400 yards tomorrow.
Whew.
I mean, not tomorrow, but Sunday.
Against the Bills?
Against the Bills.
crazy, dude. That would be crazy. That's very bold. I like it. Obviously, I kind of said Marshall would beat Virginia Tech. I think that's a pretty
Yeah,
bold prediction.
yeah, that's a
If
pretty
I
bold
want to
one.
make one in the NFL, kind of yardage wise, like you did. That's
Yeah.
pretty interesting. I like that. I think as good as Baltimore's defense is, I think Matt Ryan throws for over 300 yards on Sunday. I think
All right.
and he might even get close to 400 and a few touchdowns. So that's a really good defense, but he just throws the ball so much because that team basically doesn't have a run game. I don't know how bold that is, but there you go. I want to pick something else. Oh, how about okay, fine. Baker Mayfield and Deshaun Watson will combine for at least 7 touchdowns. So one of them have 4, one of them have 3. I think that'll be an interesting game to watch, kind of high scoring. So
All right.
at least 7 combined touchdowns between those two
I
guys
like that.
on
That's
Sunday.
a good. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Touchdown. Yeah. All right. Well, I think those are some great bold predictions at the end there. Um, I think that's a wrap for us tonight.
Yeah. Obviously, there's stuff going on in the NBA too. We're not forgetting about it. Kyle
Yeah.
Korver got traded today to the Jazz
To the
from Cleveland.
Jazz,
Yeah.
obviously they need it, but
Yeah, needed a shooter.
yeah. I mean, I don't blame him. I mean, he's old. That's just kind of what happens to a player that doesn't fall off as much as like a Vince Carter does. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but is still like a
Shooting.
valuable asset.
Yeah.
He can still shoot. Like that hasn't really changed. Obviously, he's going to be a step slower, but I mean, he's still accurate. I'm sure he's over 40%,
Yeah, my,
almost
my
still. Like,
boys my boys play tonight, Carter. Number 11 Carolina plays number 7 Michigan.
oh yeah,
It's a big college basketball game and actually 18 minutes. Might not throw that on in a little bit and watch it, see what happens there. But if you don't
yeah,
have anything else to say, I'm good.
yeah. No, just remember that if you want us to talk about any other different sports, obviously football is the big thing right now. Conference championships, NFL coming to a close, going into the playoffs. Big weeks in this sport. So but we are eager to talk about other sports. Like I said, we'll look into anything. Obviously, Josh is a very good baseball um analytics. He knows that. And obviously, I could look it up better. Basketball, we're both good at basketball. Obviously, when the NFL is done, we can definitely go into the NBA and any other sports, hockey. I'd even said I'd do soccer, and I hate soccer. I really do. I do not like that sport, but I mean I hate golf too, and I'll talk about that. So just hit us up in the comments below or Instagram at talking.sports with 2 S's at the end.
That's right. All right. See y'all next week.
See you next week.